Hello and welcome. You're watching Morning Markets on Money9, India's first multilingual platform for personal finance from TV9 News Network. I'm Sakshi, Batra, and on this show we get you all the key updates that you need to begin your trading day right. We'll first look at the handover that we have from the Indian markets from Friday and also understand what are the global cues that are going to define the Indian markets trading action for today and this week as well. But first up, I wish to remind all of you that today, the 22nd of March, marks the first 1 year of the lockdown or the Janta lockdown that began on 22nd of March in 2020. We had a 14-hour-long voluntary lockdown today, last year on this day. So remembering that, and things are actually getting back to square one, and that is where the worry is springing, not just for the Indian markets but also for people back again, because we've seen the worst of times, the recovery, the vaccine and the renewed hopes of coming out of the pandemic, but yet again we are seeing renewed cases also on the rise in different parts of the country. When you talk about Maharashtra, that's reported about 35,000 odd cases in the last 24 hours. That is the highest ever. So that is springing from some fresh concerns on the rise of COVID-19 cases. And remember, that's one of the key factors that has been putting some pressure on the sentiment on the street as well. But let's see how this thing actually, comes through, because we'll just have to wait and watch to find out how the government and the state governments are taking this. We are also seeing renewed, instances of how fresh restrictions are being imposed in several parts of the country. But let's quickly take a look at how the markets fared on Friday to understand, what is the kind of handover we've got. So all green screen, but it was not like that in the beginning of the session on Friday. We had a gap down opening, but definitely markets pulled up amid volatility, but they ended at the high point of the day on Friday in the afternoon trade. Now, what really helped the markets recover, especially with the markets having snapped the 5 days of losing streak to end, in the positive on Friday. Look at the Sensex. It is still under the 50,000 mark, but it did manage to raise about 641 points up, or about over 1% higher on Friday. Similar is the case with the Nifty 50 as well, 14,744. That's the level at which the Nifty closed as well. The Nifty Bank also pulled up a little bit, and under 1% of gains is what we could see. However, it is still trading very close to the 34,000 mark. The mid-cap and the small-cap indices also recovered. They were the ones that were feeling the maximum pinch right in the opening session, but they actually recovered. 0.5% uptick for the small-cap, almost 1.5% uptick for the mid-cap index. And we'll just have to see whether that trend actually continues in this week as well or not. Moving on to see what kind of indications are coming in from across the globe. Look at the US markets. That actually closed mixed when you talk about Friday's trading session. Almost 0.5% to 0.7% downtick for the Dow. The S&P also just slipped marginally in the red, whereas there was a positive indication from the Nasdaq that was up about 0.7%. Remember that both the Dow Jones and S&P 500, actually have snapped the 2-week win to end the entire week in the red for Friday, for the week that closed on Friday. But we'll just have to see how the futures trade and what kind of indications are we getting for today again. The Asian markets, following the global cues of the US markets, are also mixed right now. You see 0.5% uptick for the Shanghai, but 0.5% downtick is there on the Hang Seng Index, and 1.7%. The Nikkei is losing quite a bit now. It's below the 30,000 mark and it is trading at 29,275. Looking at the SGX Nifty, there's been a high volatility right from the early opening levels of SGX Nifty. Right now, you can actually see a flat to a negative start for the Indian markets, but this has been completely volatile. So we'll just have to wait to watch out. Right now, it actually indicates that the Indian markets may have just subdued start or a muted start. And also remember that for the Indian markets, this week is the expiry week again. That has also begun. So that may add on to the volatility that we have been already witnessing announcing in the last week as well. Also remember that, for the Indian markets, the positive indications came in from the FII's front. That really helped the markets to inch up higher towards the close of the session. The foreign, investors, if you talk about the foreign institutional investors, they bought in the Indian equity stocks worth about 1,400 crore rupees. The FPIs so far in March have already poured in about 8,600 crore rupees for the Indian markets. However, the domestic institutional investors also purchased about 559 crore rupees. So both of them really helped the markets to recover towards the end of the session on Friday. We'll just see how the markets trade today then. Moving on to the money market check, 72.5, that's the level at which the rupee is trading at against the dollar, marginally positive in the higher side as well. The crude oil markets are subdued. You can actually see a downtick of about 0.1, 0.2% for the Brent crude. It is trading at $64.4 to the barrel. Also, WTI crude, which is the US crude, is trading with 0.7% of a downtick at $61 to the barrel. Now, why is that? That is because the European markets are actually showing some bit of subdued move as far as the demand is concerned. The oil prices were rising because there were clear indications from the macro indicators on the demand front, but that is also because of the fresh cases of COVID-19 and fresh restrictions, third wave of COVID-19 in countries like Italy. That is all creating some more pressure on the demand front as far as the crude oil movement is concerned. However, weaker crude is definitely positive for the Indian markets as it would not translate into a higher price for fuel, that is petrol and diesel. So that is something that the markets will heave a sigh of relief for. Now, when you talk about the stocks that you need to watch out for, बहुत सारे ऐसे स्टॉक्स होंगे जहां पर आप आज नजर रख सकते हैं. अदानी ग्रीन एनर्जी पर अगर आप नजर रखें तो ये स्टॉक 5% तक की बढ़त के साथ बंद हुआ था फ्राइडे को. अब कंपनी ने एक शेयर परचेज एग्रीमेंट साइन किया है एक्वायरिंग के लिए 100% स्टेक का एसपीवी, जो कि होल्ड करती है 50 मेगावाट्स ऑपरेटिंग सोलर प्रोजेक्ट स्काई पावर का. वहां पर खरीदारी की बातचीत हो रही है. तो डेफिनेटली एक ऐड ऑन कर सकता है अदानी ग्रीन की पॉजिटिव अपटिक्स को आज के ट्रेडिंग सेशन में. भारतीय एयरटेल, यहां नजर रखिए. कंपनी has entered into an agreement for acquisition of the equity shares in Sandhya hydro power project. So that is again going to have some bit of an uptick move for the Bharti Airtel counter in today's trading session. But that definitely depends on the sentiment that the markets open with. Infibeam Avenues, 1.3% uptick was seen on Friday. Now the promoter entity O3 Developers have already sold 0.4% equity stake in Infibeam Avenues via open market transactions. So some bit of share movement may actually be expected today for this counter as well. Moving on, JSW Energy पर नजर रखिए. 0.6% तक की बढ़त थी फ्राइडे को. Now the company has said that its subsidiary JSW Future Energy has received orders for a total wind capacity of 450 megawatt from SECI. So positive news there. You may see an extension of the uptick move that we had witnessed on Friday as well. So these are the stocks that you need to keep in your mind. But in case you're looking for trades that you need to take for today, then we have analysts recommending that especially for you on Money9. Mazhar Mohammed has given a buy recommendation on Tata Power. The target price he's kept for the stock is 114 with a stop loss of 95. आगे बढ़े तो गुजरात मिनरल डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन पर भी खरीदारी की राय है मजर की. 6% तक का स्ट्रॉन्ग मूव हमने फ्राइडे को देखा था. यहाँ पर और तेजी एक्सपेक्टेड है. टारगेट प्राइस आप 65 रुपए का रख सकते हैं. 55 रुपए और उसके बिलो के लिए आप स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर चले. आगे बढ़ते हैं और उषा मार्टिन पर आप नजर रखिए. खरीदारी की राय यहाँ पर है. टारगेट प्राइस यहाँ पर आप 38 का रख सकते हैं. स्टॉप लॉस 30 का लगाकर चलिए. ऑलरेडी 6.5% तक का आप मूव हमें पहले दिखा था इस स्टॉक में. आगे बढ़े तो ऑयल एंड गैस स्पेस से जय पुरोहित का मानना है कि आप खरीदारी करके चल सकते हैं. बीबीसीएल के काउंटर में 1.5% तक की मूव हमने देखी थी पॉजिटिव साइड पर फ्राइडे को. यहाँ टारगेट आप 455 रुपए का रख सकते हैं. 418 रुपए का आप स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर चलिए. आगे बढ़े तो पीडी लाइट पर भी उनकी खरीदारी की ही राय है. 2.25% तक के आप मूव यहाँ पर देखने को मिल सकते हैं. मिला था फ्राइडे को और यहाँ पर तेजी और एक्सपेक्टेड है. जो टारगेट प्राइस उन्होंने रेकमेंड किया है 1850 रुपए का है और 1695 का आप स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर चल सकते हैं. आखिरी जो स्टॉक उन्होंने दिया है टेलीकॉम स्पेस से है भारतीय एयरटेल का. यहाँ पर न्यूज का भी मोमेंटम है और खरीदारी यानी कि टेक्निकल मोमेंटम भी आपको देखने को मिल सकता है. जयपुर का मानना है कि यहाँ पर आप खरीदारी करके चल सकते हैं करंट लेवल्स पर. जो टारगेट प्राइस आपको दिया गया है 570 रुपए का है. 510 रुपए का स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर आप चल सकते हैं. तो ये 6 स्टॉक्स आपकी किटी में ऑलरेडी आ चुके हैं मार्केट की शुरुआत से पहले, ताकि है आपको पहले ही पता हो कि कहां पर आपको अपने ट्रेडिंग फोकस रखना है. हालांकि किसी भी स्टॉक पर इन्वेस्ट करने से पहले आप अपने फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर से जरूर बात कीजिए. चलिए इसी के साथ इस खास पेशकश को यहीं समेटते हैं, लेकिन लगातार पूरे दिन भर मार्केट के ऊपर एक्शन जारी रहेगा. तो बने रहिए Money9 के साथ.